analyzing anything, you're not assessing anything, you're not diagnosing anything. You're just mirroring what is in the source document as is into your Argus application when you do data entry, or when you're booking in first initially, then when you do data entry, and when you're doing quality check. There are different workflow states. So throughout that sequence, you're not altering the information that is in the source document. Now, this is important because when you have, let's say you have some medical expertise, and you are a medical doctor or a physician or a pharmacist or a dentist, you try to diagnose a case, you try to read through the material, and you say, oh, this is not chest pain, this is not heart attack, it is just musculoskeletal pain. You can start to assume something and diagnose something. You need to stop that from happening, because you're too far from a patient to actually diagnose. You're not at the bedside to read through 3-4 pages and start to make your own assessments. You can always question the narrative. You can always query or send out a question to the reporter and asking for further clarification, but you cannot really, as I said, you really cannot alter anything or diagnose anything or assess anything when you're actually doing data entry and booking. You need to literally do as is, to a point that, let me put it this way, if for example, um, when they reported heart attack, instead of saying HEART, if they say HERT and miss an alphabet, you will say it's HERT attack. So even to that extent, you will literally be copy pasting what is in the source document into Argus, but you don't alter it. And again, as I said, you can query it. Once the query comes back, once the query is answered, you can change based on what information that you have received. So that is about source document. Just to go briefly about source document, this source document, as you can see, it's a very templated source document. You see the demographics of the patient here, patient identifiers here, with the date of birth, with the patient initials, with the patient age, sex of the patient, when the patient experienced the adverse event or the side effect is here, what are the adverse events experienced, in this case pain of the neck and shoulder, and the patient experienced chest pain, and the patient is recovering from this chest pain. We don't know what is the outcome of this event, and this is the seriousness criteria. The patient was hospitalized for this events of heart attack and pain of neck and chest pain. This is the suspect drug, which is your company drug, and that is why you have to report this case. This Lenvima, let us assume, is your company drug. It's your company suspect drug, and that's why you're reporting this case. This is the indication for which the patient is taking the drug. These are the duration of treatment for what the patient was taking it. What are the concomitant medications of the drug? What other medications was the patient taking along with your drug? So they are all concomitant medications. In this case, the patient was taking Pembro. And this is the past medical history of the patient with hypertension, which is continuing. This is your company. ISA is a company here in New Jersey. They are producing this oncology drug called Lenvima for endometrial cancer. So this is your reporter's information, which is pretty much coming from your workplace or your reporter. You are the reporter. But here, this is the manufacturer, but this is actually coming from a clinical trial site, because there is a subject ID here. There is a protocol number, there is a subject ID. So this is definitely a clinical trial case or a solicited case. So this section shows me, is this a clinical trial case or is this a spontaneous case? Once I see subject ID, once I see protocol number, I know this is a clinical trial, and the clinical trial PI, the principal investigator, is reporting the adverse event. Now this is the narrative. This is very important for us to assess the case later. So what happened with the patient on chronological order? So from 4th July 2023 to, let us say, 12th Jan 2024, what happened with the patient? Some sites will send you a very detailed narrative. Some sites may not, like how this site has reported. So this is where you see the narrative. and it's good if you want to learn